You want me to explode?
Yes! That's what I've been waiting for!
Okay, I'll try.
Last two videos I've made has made more of a reaction than I expected. These explosives have been in the game for a very long time. Remote linking grenades and stuff has been in the game for an even longer time. There's apparently a PR open that does a few things, such as making signal triggers now have a 3-second delay, which would just make them the same as timer triggers. The explosive pens will no longer have signal connections, and seismic charges also will go on a timer instead of detonating instantly. I mean, no controversy over any of this. I don't really care how the game's balanced at this point. I just roll with it, or I change things I don't like on my own server. So if you make a signal modular grenade and you get a voice trigger, you put the voice trigger in the case, you can right-click the grenade and record your voice and just type in something easy like die or something, and it'll say recorded successfully. So now if I have a grenade and I toss it just to get over yonder, press T, press up, press enter, well, I'm slightly out of range, so yeah, it's not as good as a signal trigger. If I step a little bit closer, it'll explode, and I'm not even in the radius. That's not even close to how bad it can get, though. So if that PR gets merged with signal triggers and now start a timer instead of detonating instantly, you can still just use a voice trigger with a radio in a bag, for example, and you could toss the bag anywhere. It can be out of your range, and you could just instantly go on your chat bar here. I'll walk across the room to show that this would still work. So you could use this as an pretty much instant detonation bomb, or set it up across the station even further than something like the remote signal bomb ever used to do. So I press up, press T, and you saw the screen shaking, the explosion still happened. This next one's kind of a classic, but I've seen rumors that you're not able to do this anymore. So if you put 15 chlorine, 45 fluorine in a cryo beaker, which maxes it out, leave it on a hot plate for a bit, you now have one of the most dangerous, if not the highest damage individual throwing grenade in the game that isn't something like a holy hand grenade. You can make this with literally no TC. The crew can make this incredibly easy. It just requires a tier 2 tech, and you can make it without an EMAG and a proto lathe, or make it without an EMAG and a med lathe, and the beaker costs like nothing. Steel and plastic and a few common reagents. Pretty much every department in the game can make this one. Cargo, science, medical are going to be the most likely people to get their hands on stuff like this. Chemists easily get their hands on stuff like this. But once it's on the beaker or the hot plate for a little bit, you just take the beaker and you throw it one tile past a person. So I wanted to land here, so I throw it here. It'll land directly on them, and it will space the floor and pretty much instantaneously kill anyone. So like, let me examine their health. I think there's like 190 damage or something if you land it perfectly. Yeah, even if you have 50% damage resist, you're screwed. It does so much damage, and it spaces the floor. And of course, you can then use this with a backpack full of explosives and use the cryostasis beaker to blow it up. So I could toss the bag directly at them and then the beaker right past them, and it'll make a gigantic explosion that spaces the floor, instantly kills the person, and can clear half a room. You can add more explosives, and you're going to start risking yourself a little bit, but you're already risking yourself if you're making a massive explosion like that anyway. But that's just something you could do. That was 3 explosive payloads, by the way. Just for reference, that it was a pretty large room sized explosion. And just to showcase some oddities in the system here, say you don't have cryostasis beakers, but for some reason you have an explosive payload, this starts getting a little insane. You can actually hit an explosive payload 4 times with the toolbox, and then you could just get a little bit of potassium. It could be literally like 5 units amount. And if you get some water, you could then have... Obviously, this starts to get a little bit more absurd. You'd have to throw 3 things, but you can literally throw the explosive payload at somebody and then swap to the beaker and just toss it, and it's still a kill. It does a lot of damage, and that's also very cheap. You don't spend any TC. That's all I'm going to cover for now. There's more explosive options out there. There's more things you could do. I'm not going to showcase literally everything. I know one of the comments on the PR says that I'm encouraging people to do this. I'm not directly encouraging it, but by the principle of media, people copy things they see online. That's nothing I could do about that. I always just showcase stuff that you could do in game and info relating to it. I'm not going to change that. And enjoy it. Don't enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.